Hello everyone, and welcome back to another WARNO Deck Deep Dive, with the special thing being that we this time look at the review build that we have, which is going to be close to the launch build that we will have on the 23rd, so only a few changes gonna come there, and most likely no changes to the divisions themselves, and I think I found a division that might be really strong with the changes coming, and that one is the first UK Armoured, as they're having a couple of new units, plus they will profit from the weakening of forward deploy of other formations. So let's have a look here at the first UK, and let's start as always in the logistics tab, which is an okay tab for this division. It has 3 availability sultans, which are nice because they are decently survivable, and with 3 availability that's a good combo for 80 points especially. They're a bit slower than some like BRDMs or so in other nations, but 3 availability for 80 points is a really good combo with an armored vehicle that can survive artillery hits and so on, and can't be hit by light arms as easily. So yep, Sultan here, quite nice. Bedfords and Stolly, decent supply as well. Those Stolly maybe could go down 5 points. Yeah, the other units here decent as well if you want to choose them outside of the FV. The FV really cheap, but it's only 2 availability, which in comparison to the Sultan is pretty tough, plus it's really slow. So yeah, the 15 points don't really make that much of a difference. Infantry tab is where this division got the biggest buff, and we will get to it in a second. First of all, it's still the Armored division with the forward deploy, and that is quite nice. Can even get some points early here with the power leader getting a bit of stuff. We have 7 leaders in this, so it's a really safe deck if you want to use this deck. You can find the code as always down below, but obviously you can only use it at the launch build. Before that it won't quite work out, so keep that in mind. Only using it from the 23rd onward. And then we have Assault Pioneers, as Shock will be pretty good on this build as well, and they have quite a lot of firepower for 45 points, double MG and the satchel charge. The Assault Pioneers, quite nice unit here as well. And then the Armored Rifles, and the reason why I don't have any Milan 2 teams, even though the Spartan MC with the Milan 2 is nice as well, as the Armored Rifles come with Warrior Applique now, and that is a Warrior with a Milan 2 and 4 frontal and side armor, thanks to the extra armor. And that Milan 2 is just really strong, especially for 55 points. That can one-shot a lot of vehicles. Even Leo won't have a lot of fun against this. So the Warrior Applique, a fantastic vehicle for 55 points, really scary, with the Milan 2 on top. And thanks to the extra veterancy, also a bit more accuracy on that. And yeah, the 3 cards of these to really make it uncomfortable for the enemy. Yeah, replacing the ATGM Milan 2 vehicles here in this deck for me. And then the normal rifles here in the end. Good firepower, Law 80 as good AT, really solid unit as well. So with 2 strong normal infantry units, and then the Warrior Appliques with the Armored Rifles here as your standard infantry. A really solid formation, plus the forward deploy in the infantry tab, like one of the Armored divisions for sure with the strongest infantry tabs now, if not the strongest out of all of those, with the Warriors. A really nice formation. Artillery, not as great. We have some M104s, which especially now with the being more accurate, if you get them a bit closer, can be quite nice at dealing with enemy defensive positions. And the mortars here, mostly for the smoke and stuff like that. They are a bit more deadly now as well, as they have a good bit more accuracy, so more shots will land around the target that you're actually firing upon. But the damage is still not great. It's okay though. But yeah, the M19s are more for the damage, and then the mortars here, mostly if you need a smoke wall, you can bring them around and get them in. Tank-wise, the Challengers, not great, but they went up a bit in comparison to other tanks, because M1A1 and TADBVs got up in price. So the Challenger Mark III here, with its good penetration and good frontal armor, doing pretty nicely. And reduced rate of fire, obviously the biggest weakness of this tank, and the lower speed also not helpful. Like the Challenger, not an amazing tank, but is a heavy tank, and divisions that don't have it will struggle against that. That don't have any heavier tanks. And then the Chieftain is a really solid mid-sized tank, great damage output, solid frontal armor as well. A rate of fire, the issue of this tank as well, but yeah, the Mark 9 really cheap option. Mark 11 solid combination here with the extra 3 frontal armor, so that is quite nice. And then the Striker has a long range ATGM option. Like this unit you only want to bring around when you need a longer shot. That's why I took it over the Milan 2 version here, because we already have Milan 2s with the Warriors, so we don't need them here. When the Striker is just going to be used in places where you need that extra range that the Swing Fire gives you. Outside of that, I wouldn't use that. You can maybe switch it out against the AVRE as well if you want to have some more HE, or against the Challenger 2 card, though Challenger 2 not that amazing. The extra penetration of the Mark 3 quite nice, and the extra 1 hit point pretty nice as well for the 25 points. But yeah, if you want to have maybe some more heavies, then you could switch it out against the Striker as well. Recon, we have a really strong recon unit with the Scouts, with the Law 80. Good anti-tank in forward deploy, that's always nice. So that's a good unit here. The SAS Patrol, nice scouting unit. Decent firepower as well with the MP5s and the sniper rifle. If enemies get close, they can be quite brutal as well. Plus the satchel charges helping. Scimitars and Scorpions as some fire support and some autocannons. Scimitars got nerfed a good bit, like a lot of other autocannon vehicles. Scorpion actually got buffed, so I would go with that. Like the Scimitar nerf was a while ago, I believe now, but it's, yeah, that's why I take Scorpions instead of 2 cuts of Scimitars. As the Scorpion also has a bit more range, and it can be quite nice as fire support unit. That's what I would use it for mostly, as a shooting against enemy infantry. AA, Javelin, LML get a bit cheaper, but they are still not quite where I would want them to be, because you can't put them in buildings anymore. But like the rate of fire is still nice. I wonder if for 50 points they might be worthwhile again. I think though 45 points would be the sweet spot there, where their ability to ripple fire would be really cost efficient, but obviously the positioning would be a bit harder. At the moment, it's you often want to have your man-pads in buildings, and they can't quite do that. So yeah, 1 card of Javelin and 2 cards of Tractor up here is this instead. With their high availability though, that's not an issue. 6 availability on a vehicle is quite amazing, and this means you can wet them up to really high accuracy, and also getting the aim time a bit lower, which is pretty important on these shorter range AA vehicles. So Tractor up here with veterancy, still you get 8 that you get there, so that is just fine, and gets you a pretty good AA umbrella there. And then helicopters, Gazelle rockets, always still nice for spamming at the beginning. Really helpful little unit, especially now that rockets deal full damage against buildings again. So that really helps out the Gazelle rocket to do its job again. As often in the last patches, when you hit an enemy building, it just didn't quite do it. You didn't quite get the kill on the infantry unit, and that's the painful thing. And you always want to get like 3 Gazelle rockets getting 1 infantry unit. That's the hopeful scenario, and then you can maybe reload them and get it another time, and then you really start to pay off. But interrupting enemy deployment and so on with these is quite nice. Yeah, it should be better now again. And then Hell Arms as fast striking, somewhat survivable ATGM helicopters, like the 6 hit points and the fast speed really make the Lynx a good bit more survivable than something like a Gazelle or so that comes in. The German and French helicopters, they are a good bit weaker, but obviously far from being an attack helicopter that can tank maybe even some airplanes. And this will lose against any gun run, but 60 points is also absolutely priced to be fine with that. The ITO in solid missile as well. TOW 1 I'm not a big fan of. 16 is just a bit too little, but the 20 here with long range and good accuracy can be quite nice. Air, really strong in this deck as well. The Harrier bombers can be really frustrating, as they're really cheap and they can one-hit a lot of things. So if the enemy doesn't have AA up, you can use them early on to hit. Plus the cluster even has some AM9Ls, so it can help out on the pinch as a semi-fighter as well, with the double 30mm being good in the head-on as well. And then tornadoes here AA, and then you have a good couple, like 2 really good HE units to choose from here with the Tornado HE and the Jaguar, but I like the diving here a bit more. That makes it a bit easier to hit. The Tornado is a bit safer with the high drop rate, so, and it's a bit better in air support as well. But outside of that, the Jaguar really nice there as well to drop in. Rocket one might be interesting again, but that's more for a real air spam deck where you also want to have it as a semi-fighter. Because 165 points is really cheap for 30 ECM, M9L, double gun, and then you also get good rockets on it. And like, if you want to play this deck air spammy, take the Jaguar rocket for sure now, as it can hit ground targets and buildings really nicely. So it's an infantry elite machine again, and then also can help out with any air superiority fights. Cluster Tornado, don't take that. But obviously, if you want to make an air spam deck, take the second card of Tornadoes here as well, and then really, really build into it. Like, this deck can do it if you take if you fill the 3 slots here as well with the Jaguar, the 1 Tornado, and this Tornado card, then it can be quite brutal, or at least these 2 slots with the Jaguar and the Tornado. But then you really have to lean into it. Is a good way to play this deck as well, though. So, yeah. This is my first Armoured. As I said, I think this deck will be fantastic, especially because of the cost-efficient warrior at launch. Hippie will cry against it, obviously, and will say that the French are OP and Brits never can be broken, but they will be, most likely. Like, this deck will for sure be good. If the warrior doesn't get changed to launch, in my eyes, it has a good chance to be broken even. So, we'll look forward to that, and yeah, hope you will be playing this at launch. Hope to will not be playing against you, but I see you there. Have a nice day. Bye bye.